What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over each and every one of our top cornerbacks right now in college football Ultimate Team 25, talking about who are the best corners in the entire game, who are some good budget options. Now, I didn't rank any of the core elite cards. I do have my first cornerback tier list posted on the channel if you want to go back and find any of those core elites where they do rank. But I think it's important to rank some of the newer cards that we have, how they compare to some of those top guys. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video today. If you are new to the channel, man, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're on the road towards 10,000 subscribers, and I really do appreciate all of the recent support. Now, Akib Talib, we've got three different ones here. Obviously, the 88's the best, then you got the 86, and then you got the 85. Now, for me, when I'm looking at Akib Talib, he's a fine corner. I actually don't mind the card whatsoever. But the 88, you guys can see, is just way better than all the rest of them. You're looking at an 88 with 88 speed, an 86 with 85 speed, and an 85 with 84 speed. So obviously, guys, the 88 Talib is going to be way better. I think I want to rank these cards as like this. I think that's where I like them the most. Do think there is a gap between the best Talib and the 86 Talib. And I think the gap is, I don't want to say really wide, but decently wide enough to separate them into these tiers. A decent corner, though, nonetheless, definitely way better in man coverage. Even the 85 is fine if you do play a lot of man coverage compared to a zone coverage in the game. Then we see Aiden White up next. Now, I think Aiden White's a guy that splits the middle. And that's just kind of my personal feeling on it. When I got Aiden White, he was one of the best corners in the entire game. And still, if you do play a lot of zone coverage, he is absolutely a really good corner that you still can run good speed, really good zone coverage as well. The problem I have with Aiden White comes when you really look at that at the man coverage, just not great. Obviously, for me, Aiden White is, in my opinion, still B tier. I still run this card to this day. Is he a top tier corner though? At this stage, no, B tier is the right spot. 89, Kobe Bryant. That's what I'm ranking. I'm not ranking this as an 84. If this was the 89 though, Bryant, he is A tier. Again, not S tier, because there are downsides to Bryant, and we'll talk about him in this video. But I do think when you're talking about the 89 overall Bryant, he becomes way better. And again, it's hard to show max updated rankings. Here you guys go with the 89 Kobe Bryant. Should have included this one on the tier list. But he's got 89 speed, 87 acceleration, 90 zone coverage. I run a lot of zone coverage. Why? It's because I have Bryant and Aiden White, two guys that are way better in his zone coverage. I do think A tier is where he belongs. You could maybe throw him into S tier if you did want to. TJ Crandall, I don't like putting you at F tier, but you might be F tier. Like, you really might be F tier. One of the best budget corners in the entire game. But at this point, it's just tough because TJ Crandall no longer is that top dog. Now, if you are still balling on a budget and are in need of a budget corner, I don't think there's still many better than TJ Crandall. 20,000 coins just seems a little too expensive. I don't necessarily think he's worth all that. TJ Crandall really good in this game. No doubt. An F tier player though. Cypress probably is F tier as well. I think Cypress and TJ Crandall are pretty close when you're talking about, who's better, how good are they. Cypress might have this slight edge over him, but I still think Cypress is F tier. When you're talking about some of the best corners in the game, it's just hard to hype up Crandall or Cypress right now with where we are at. Darien Porter up next. I think he's A tier. Now, I'm higher on Darien Porter than a lot of people, and I'm perfectly okay with it because I absolutely love this card. He's 6'4", 88 speed, 89 acceleration, 90 man coverage. I mean, what else can you want out of a card? Sure, his zone coverage isn't great. I get that, and I'll talk about that. But a good tackler, great pursuit, good man coverage. There's no flaws with Darien Porter. I think he's A tier and one of the best corners in our entire game. Denzel Burke up next. I think C tier is the right spot for Denzel Burke. Card I actually have picked up and used just for the sole fact that he is really cheap. And for 80,000 coins, really solid value. 85 speed, 85 acceleration, 86 zone coverage. Do think he belongs in C tier. And I actually really think Denzel Burke is solid. Again, not the best corner in the game, but for a budget guy, he is just okay. Dalen Everett up next. A card, again, who has been out a little while. A budget card in the game. 83 speed, 82 acceleration. Decent man, decent zone. I do think he's honestly worse than both Crandall and Cypress. It really is all preference based, though, when you're talking about these budget guys. But this is where I'd rank them. I'd probably go Cypress 1, Crandall 2, Everett 3. The new card that did come out, what is it, Aiden Garnes? S tier. I mean, look at this card and how good he truly is. Now, I think at the time I'm recording this, he hasn't loaded in right now, but you guys can see he's right here. He's got, you guys can see 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 89 man coverage. Yes, the zone coverage isn't that great, but I'm telling you right now, like man-to-man corners are the new meta in the game. It really is. And Aiden Garnes is so elite. Great speed, great man coverage, just does it all at an insanely high level. S tier easily for Garnes right now in the game. Humphrey, another budget guy. I do think he's worse than Crandall. I'm going to go F tier. Again, I'm including these cards because budget-wise, I actually really like them, and they're who I'd recommend for you guys. They're just too expensive, in my opinion, right now. Hearns the third up next. I do think he's in this review set as well. Oh, no, he's already in the game. He's not a card that I've ran into a bunch or I've looked into a bunch as well. 85 speed, 87 acceleration. The man coverage at a 75 is crazy, though. And I think that's why I have really big hold up with Hearns. Like, good speed, good acceleration. But if you play any man coverage, he is going to get absolutely cooked. The 75 man coverage is absolutely crazy. Decent in zone coverage. I actually don't hate this card, but I do think he is D tier. I think that's where he belongs. Mac Attack up next. Mac McWilliams, another great man coverage corner. And I know I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Man coverage is the new meta in the game. 86 speed. Good acceleration at an 88, 86 man coverage. Only 5'10", sure. I mean, that is a little, I don't want to say a big red flag, but a little bit of a red flag. But again, this zone coverage at a 77. Jacob, 77054 said it best. That zone is disgusting, and it is. I'm not disagreeing with that. But again, man coverage is good enough that I do think he is in B tier with that speed, with everything he does possess. Patrick Peterson, is he A tier? Is he B tier? Let's talk about it. I'm leaning A tier for the card. Although I do have some hold-ups with Patrick Peterson. 87 speed, 87 acceleration, 87 man coverage. The 81 zone coverage, though. And it's something we're talking about a lot during this video is the man coverage versus zone coverage. Again, make sure these cards fit what you specifically want. I'm not even going to sit up here in front of you guys and say there's a better stat between man and zone coverage because they both matter. It just depends what you specifically run for your squad. I do think he is I think he is deserving of A tier nonetheless, though, is Patrick Peterson. Next up, guys, we do see Jalen Ramsey at this stage of the game. C tier maybe for Jalen Ramsey. Had his time in the game, no doubt. And I still don't hate Jalen Ramsey because he has decent, really good man coverage. His zone coverage isn't bad either at an 83, 86 speed, 85 acceleration, decently tall. I still think you could argue B. I'm gonna argue B tier. It's still to this. Is he better than Burke though? Maybe a little, but not. I'm gonna go C tier. I am gonna go C tier just because I think we've seen some cards that are a little bit better, and he's just way overpriced. So I'm never gonna recommend Jalen Ramsey, but he had his time, and honestly, still to this day, Jalen Ramsey is not bad whatsoever. Darrelle Revis at this stage is D tier. I mean, you look at Darrelle Revis and what that zone coverage says, you're going to be absolutely disgusted. And I promise you, Jalen Ramsey is better than Darrelle Revis. 85 speed, 86 man coverage. Like, sure, the man coverage I have no issues with. But you're looking also at a card with, horrible zone coverage. His 74 zone coverage is just absolutely disgusting. Darrelle Revis, he's fine, but he is D tier. Rod Woodson, do I have anybody in S tier yet? I do have Garnes. And I think Rod Woodson has to be in S tier, doesn't he? Like, again, I'm not trying to sit here and hype these cards up because I would never pay for Rod Woodson given, the million price tag on the card. But where does he lack? 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 89 man coverage, great press. I get it. When you play zone coverage or talk about zone coverage, it's not great. But Rod Woodson is an S tier corner right now in the game. Sauce Gardner is elite still to this day. I think A tier for Sauce Gardner, and we'll talk about him. We'll look at him and talk about why I believe that. But, I mean, 87 speed. He's a card with 87 acceleration. Good man, good zone. He's also 6'3". So he's got a little bit of everything. Like, I like Darien Porter, but I think Sauce Gardner is just as good, if not better, side by side than Darien Porter. Again, maybe I'm wrong. You guys can let me know if you disagree with what I'm saying. But when I compare the cards, that's where I'm at right now with them. I think both cards are really good. Both of them can play. But I think Sauce Gardner is just as good as some of these other top guys. Surtain up next. I really like Surtain still to this day too. And this is where it's really tough to separate some of these cards in specific tiers because I feel like right now my B tier isn't what I want it to be. But Surtain is 6'2". He's got 87 speed. He's got 87 man coverage, 82 zone. But is this where I separate it? I think it might be, but then I kind of want to move. I'm gonna do this. And you guys might not like it, but I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move some of these guys down just because I think they're more on the C tier level than they are the B tier level. And that is McWilliams and that is Aiden White. I still use Aiden White, but trust me when I tell you guys, that man coverage is bad. He gets absolutely cooked when it comes down to man coverage. Again, I don't love this, but I think this is the right thing to do. Again, we'll continue moving forward, but it's where I'm at right now. Tacario Davis, A tier. And this is kind of why I'm moving people around, because Tacario Davis is for sure deserving of A tier. 6'4", super good man, super good zone, just one of the most complete corners in the entire game. And I think it's when you play Tacario Davis, you feel his presence. Like 87 speed, 87 man, just ridiculous on the field. And I think he's basically similar to like a Darien Porter type of card. Travis Hunter, is he S tier? I definitely think he could be. Because when I'm, again, talking about the best corners in the game, Travis Hunter is 88 speed, 88 man coverage, good zone coverage, good press, good pursuit. He's 6'1". I'm throwing him into S tier. I'm going to. I thought A, maybe S, but I do think when I'm looking at the card, he is deserving of S tier. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong on Travis Hunter down below in the comments, but that's what I think. Tommy Hill kind of stinks. I know he's an 88 overall, but he is not one of my favorite 88s in the game. And maybe one of my least favorite 88s in the game, matter of fact. 84 speed, decent man coverage, but man coverage doesn't matter when you have 84 speed. I'm throwing C tier, but the lower end of C tier. Then you get Will Johnson. And I still think to this day, Will Johnson's an S tier corner and one of the best corners in the entire game. No, it's crazy. Will Johnson's price has went way up. So I don't necessarily think he's worth $500K. But when you're looking at good man coverage, good zone coverage, 6'2", good speed and acceleration, do think he is in S tier. You guys are going to have to let me know your thoughts on this tier list, because normally I feel like I'm somewhat confident in my tier list, but this is one I'm just not quite sure on. Drop a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.